Hello and welcome in. Today's topic of discussion is news that happened yesterday. We didn't get a chance to cover that. We went a different route, but it's still worthy of talking about today because we need to establish a baseline with this story because this is going to be something that is going to come up ad nauseum. It's going to be repeated. We are going to deal with this for weeks/months, all the way up through the preseason, up to the beginning of the regular season. At some point, it will no longer be a thing, but until it's no longer a thing, it's going to be a thing. And the only way that this stops being a thing is if we see Danielle Hunter in the shoulder pads with the helmet on, wearing purple, and until then, we're going to speculate. So let's talk about Danielle Hunter. Organized team activities began for a lot of the teams around the league this past week. The Vikings' first session was yesterday on Monday, and a lot of the big-name players did show up. You had Kirk Cousins, you had Dalvin Cook, a very good showing for the first OTA session. So that's good news for the team. But we did not see Danielle Hunter participate, and there is a number of reasons why that is significant. But it's not really to raise an alarm. I don't think that this is a situation that was unforeseen. I don't think there's any reason to panic. Danielle Hunter not being present at first OTA, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not that people are making it a big deal, but I don't want anybody to get this false sense of urgency that the time is the clock is ticking and we just passed a significant stage. We didn't really do that, but it's still significant enough to talk about because there are things that are going to happen in the next few weeks that we can look forward to. Now that the first OTAs have happened and Danielle Hunter was not present or at least visible to the media. So just to recap, last year, of course, Danielle Hunter missed the entire 2020 season with the neck injury that was sort of downplayed early on by Mike Zimmer and the coaching staff and the Vikings organization as a whole. They originally said it was a tweak. Then he goes on 3-week IR to open the season. And then he is announced to have been lost for the entire 2020 season, needing neck surgery. And neck surgery is very scary. Couple that with the other saga that happened with Danielle Hunter, and that is the NFL Network report from last year by Ian Rappaport suggesting or rumoring, that's not a word, allegedly suggesting that Danielle Hunter was looking for a giant payday. He wanted to be the highest paid defensive end in the league, basically a Nick Bosa style contract. And then that's when we all got concerned, right? We all got concerned because there's the neck injury. Now you want a new contract. The Vikings cap situation isn't great. Are we going to see Danielle Hunter play for the Minnesota Vikings anymore because of those three things? And all of those concerns are absolutely justified. And maybe even more so now, but I'm less concerned because it's been a year and nothing has really happened. So, I mean, all you really got to do is get on the phone with Shannon Sharpe during a live broadcast and not tell him that he's on there, a la the Julio Jones situation, which is just wild in and of itself. But getting back to Danielle Hunter, him not being available or him not being present at OTAs isn't a big deal, and there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, it's the first OTA. Who really cares? We are coming out of a year-long pandemic where we spent a lot of time away from each other, and it doesn't surprise me that star players don't show up to first OTAs. Aaron Rodgers was not present at first OTA for the Green Bay Packers. They still seem to be very convinced that they're going to be okay. I'm not that convinced. I mean, obviously, way different reasons here. I'm not convinced that this is a time to panic just because Danielle Hunter wasn't at the first one. And just to sort of, as an aside real quick, Danielle Hunter, does he really need organized team activities? Does he need practice? Does he need preseason? He's one of the best edge rushers in the league. I think he's going to be fine. And I think what last year proved, with everything being virtual and not having a preseason or a lot of practices or a way for, ways for the team to be together and actually facilitate game plans and stuff, most teams turned out okay. So I'm not too concerned with him missing OTAs and practice just yet. Another thing that's important to note is that just because he wasn't seen on the field by the media doesn't mean that he wasn't there. He very easily could have been indoors, somewhere within the facility doing his own thing, because here's the thing that you got to consider. They might not be ready, to throw him to the wolves per se, a year removed from neck surgery, because I don't even think it's actually been a full year since he's had that. So neck injuries are serious. It would be no surprise if they were to take it slow with him. And it would be no surprise if he himself decided for himself to not fully engage with the whole football program until his agent, himself, and his doctors and the team medical staff felt that it was time to do so. So I think it's going to be a while before we see Danielle Hunter. I'm not concerned about him not being present so far. Totally acceptable situation in my eyes, and there's no reason to hit the panic button just yet. Another thing to consider is that with the organized team activity structure and the whole off-season programs, I would be honestly shocked if he wasn't doing his own workout thing. Even though we've seen that can have absolutely devastating results, all the situation in Denver that happened with Juwan James and him being injured off-site because he wasn't at the team facility. So maybe they're going to take a step back with that for a little bit. But overall, I think the Danielle Hunter situation hasn't really changed. I think him not being available at OTAs or him not participating in the initial OTA session is not that big of a surprise. I think that's what everybody should have expected. A couple of things to look out for in the coming weeks is, number one, does he eventually get on the field with the team wearing the purple, the pads, and the helmet? That will give us a big indication of where he might be. Number two is going to be the next media availability for either the head coach or the general manager. So keep your eyes peeled. If you see an opportunity where Mike Zimmer or Rick Spielman in the coming weeks are going to make themselves available to the media, that's going to be an important inflection point in this Danielle Hunter situation going forward, because the first OTAs have happened. Now we're on the clock. It's an extensive clock, but it is a clock on how many where he's actually going to miss. Excuse me. So the next time that Mike Zimmer or Rick Spielman get in front of a camera, get in front of the press, they're going to be asked questions about Danielle Hunter. And there's plenty of writers that cover the Minnesota Vikings that are going to be smart enough to get those questions in, because Danielle Hunter is a big piece of the defense. He's a big focal point of the team. Getting him back is crucial. So watch for those instances or those press conferences and see what the questions are and see what the answers are. We've already had discussions at length about how coaches and general managers will lie ad nauseum with really no repercussions, and that's why they do it, because who's going to stop them? And they're not going to get disciplined by anyone, because what they're trying to do is cover themselves and not give away too many secrets to the media for other teams to take advantage of. So it will also be interesting to see how Mike Zimmer himself handles questions from the media going forward about Danielle Hunter after last year, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of still annoyed by the whole dodging or downplaying the Danielle Hunter injury last year, because we went from, oh, it's just a tweak, to Danielle Hunter is out for the season. That's kind of annoying. I would like for him, and I would like for the organization as a whole, and just everybody in general, to be more upfront and honest about the expectations for some of these players who are coming off of injuries or who have sustained injuries. But I know we're never going to get that, because there is no repercussions for them lying to our faces about it. So it will be interesting to see what his answers are going forward regarding the situation, given the answers that he gave last year and how it turned out. So that will be something to pay attention to. But in closing, just to sort of wrap this up, I am not concerned with Danielle Hunter being absent from OTAs, or at least out of view of the media. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the situation. When do you expect Danielle Hunter to come back? What do you feel, or how do you feel about the contract discussions that we haven't really heard all that much more about? And do you expect him to suit up for the Minnesota Vikings in 2021 and beyond? So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.